What you have is two constituencies. You've got traditional finance, and traditional finance operates 19% of the time. It costs $40 million to take a company public. There's no credit, there's no liquidity on the weekend. Bitcoin represents a different thing. It represents the 21st century. So I think the millennials are looking at the world today, and they think electricity, water, elevators, the internet, they operate 100% of the time. Bitcoin operates 100% of the time. Why are we stuck with 20th century banks, money markets, and capital markets that shut us down at 4 p.m. on Friday, don't open up until 9:30 on Monday? If we did that to your food, your water, or your air, it would be considered cruel and unusual punishment.
It's been a rough couple of days for the cryptocurrency market and the overall global economy. While the markets have staged a bit of recovery since Tuesday, a lot of uncertainty and a sense of impending doom still hang over the global economy, with many experts predicting that this could be the beginning of a very prolonged chaotic moment. Amidst the gloomy predictions and generally low market sentiments, billionaire business executive and big Bitcoin bull Michael Saylor remains very optimistic about and exceedingly bullish on Bitcoin. According to Saylor, a financial revolution is currently sweeping the globe, threatening to overhaul the foundations of our financial system. In its place, Bitcoin is rising as the major building block of another financial system based on the most powerful network in the world, and without the many pitfalls of the traditional financial system. In a recent interview with CNBC television, Saylor points out that the number of important people openly supporting Bitcoin in 2024, just 2 years after the outcry about the FTX collapse in 2022, is a great indication of the Bitcoin revolution that's helping to finally digitalize global finance. For decades, technology has revolutionized every aspect of our society, with the very painful exception of our financial system. This has allowed the very controversial custodians of the trust system to fleece the world out of trillions of dollars annually, promote and benefit from dastardly wars that take tens of millions of lives, and consistently impoverish the poor to enrich the rich. The Bitcoin revolution is the exact opposite of this system, and Saylor believes the world is finally realizing the importance of this nascent asset. The MicroStrategy founder and executive chairman believes we have entered Bitcoin's gold rush decade, during which billions of people, millions of corporations and institutions, thousands of billionaires, and 100 nation-states and sovereign wealth funds will embrace Bitcoin and the new digital financial system. We will bring you clips from Michael Saylor's recent interview with CNBC. But before we do, please take a little time to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. Everything you do helps with the YouTube algorithm and immensely contributes to the channel's growth. Thanks, and enjoy the video.
I think the events of Bitcoin 2024 in Nashville a few weeks ago were just very catalytic and marked an inflection point for Bitcoin. You had presidential candidates, you had governors, you had senators, you had House members, you had CEOs, you had billionaire investors in the audience. Senator Lummis presented a strategic Bitcoin reserve bill, and that's our Louisiana Purchase moment. What happened there was the Overton window shift. Now it's possible to discuss nation states holding Bitcoin on the balance sheet. And if nation states are going to buy it, then it's reasonable for institutions, corporations, and individuals to buy it as well. So that was tremendous. Well, Thomas Jefferson purchased the Louisiana Territory for $15 million in 1803, and nearly double the size of the United States. Seward paid $7 million for Alaska. It's got $1 trillion of oil underneath it. Everybody's going to be doing business in cyberspace. Bitcoin is scarce, desirable digital property. It's a great idea to trade a little bit of currency or paper for some place that billions of people are going to be in 100 years. So yeah, I think it's a great idea. It's desirable property, and if you're capitalizing a country based upon scarce, desirable property, buying Manhattan, buying the United States, buying Alaska, anywhere you can do business, it's the basis of a great empire. So no, I think it's a good idea for a nation, but it's an equally good idea for a corporation, an individual, a family, or the like. MicroStrategy is a Bitcoin development company. We're an operating firm, and that means we have some advantages over a trust company. We've got permanent capital. We can generate cash flows. We've got operating flexibility. Our shareholders want more Bitcoin per share. They think if we get more Bitcoin per share, that's creating shareholder value. That means we're pursuing BTC yield. Whenever we can do a capital markets transaction that's accretive and generates more Bitcoin per share, we'll do it. We have the ability to sell equity into the market at a premium to net asset value. We have the ability to issue convertible bonds. We have the ability to generate operating cash flow. We're just going to keep generating more Bitcoin per share any way we possibly can by selling the volatility of the asset class and then sweeping it into the underlying asset.
While speaking at the Bitcoin 2024 conference in Nashville in July, Saylor and several other guest speakers, including former U.S. President Donald Trump and Robert Kennedy Jr., an independent presidential candidate for the coming elections, delivered several super bullish predictions and promises about Bitcoin. Amongst other things, Trump promised to make America the nation that leads Bitcoin's way to the moon if he finds his way back to the White House after the elections. He also promised to ensure the U.S. never sells its Bitcoin holdings and to acquire even more in the future. Robert Kennedy Jr. promised to buy 4 million Bitcoin if elected U.S. president. Saylor's predictions were just as powerful as these pledges. The renowned business executive predicted that in 21 years, Bitcoin will be trading between $3 million and $49 million per coin. He gave a bear case prediction of $3 million, a base case prediction of $13 million, and a bull case prediction of $49 million for the leading cryptocurrency by 2045. He shares similarly bullish predictions and overall optimism about the leading cryptocurrency in a recent interview with Bloomberg Television. Here are some clips from the discussion.
We're always buying Bitcoin, quarter by quarter by quarter. It's a long-term strategy. But the most important point for people to understand is that Bitcoin volatility is a feature. It's not a bug. The volatility creates tens of billions of dollars of credit and liquidity at all times, everywhere, to everyone in the world in the short term. But over the long term, that volatility is driving superior asset performance and durability. So it's volatile because it's functional. The other markets are all closed and they're crippled by the physics and the politics of the asset. The reason it moves is because it's functional. It's digital capital, and it's superior to physical capital or financial capital. Bitcoin's a capital investment you can hold for decades that a corporation, competitor, counterparty, or a country can't take away from you. So it'll create generational wealth for your family, your corporation, or your country. You can liquidate it at any amount, anytime, anywhere in the world, or you can hold it for any amount of time without active management or business acumen. So yeah, it's volatile, but it's so superior to every other option that you have for long-term capital management that I actually think the world is just waking up to discover this virtue. We look at Bitcoin as cyber Manhattan. So there's never a bad time to buy up scarce, desirable real estate in the greatest city in North America. There's never a bad time to buy Bitcoin. So we will just generally acquire it, whenever we have cash, whenever we can raise money in the capital markets, whenever we see the opportunity. I think timing the market is almost impossible for the mere mortal. It's time in the market that matters. There are hundreds of thousands of investments that people can make, and I don't opine on any particular real estate, equity, or crypto investment. Bitcoin is special because it is literally the most powerful computer network in the world. It's the most powerful. It's got the most electrical power. It's got the most computer power. It's got the most economic power. It's got the most political power. The fact that it runs on 17 gigawatts or more of electricity means it's got more power than the United States Navy. That makes it nation-state resistant and nuclear hardened. So my view is if you're going to put away billions of dollars for decades, you're going to want a very powerful crypto network to defend it. And there really is no second best. The future is digital. There's a race to own cyberspace. And we saw an entire set of politicians waking up to this. Senator Lummis has offered the strategic Bitcoin reserve legislation, and that's our Louisiana Purchase moment. Donald Trump has said, we won't sell our Bitcoin. And that makes BTC the apex property of the United States. The only thing that the nation won't sell are its national parks, its nuclear weapons, and its Bitcoin. I think that the conversation has shifted, and every politician in the world is starting to realize that Bitcoin's the most desirable property in cyberspace. It's the future.
Meanwhile, in unexpected defiance of recent price movements, it would seem the boomers are stronger at holding than we originally gave them credit for. According to a recent tweet from senior Bloomberg ETF analyst Eric Balchunas, IBIT investors were almost completely unmoved by the crash that took Bitcoin below $51,000 earlier this week. The tweet reads, "So, IBIT investors woke up on Monday to a minus 14% move over the weekend after stomaching an 8% decline the week prior. And what did they do? Absolutely nothing. Zero flows. Compared to some of these degens, these boomers are like the Rock of Gibraltar. You guys are so lucky to have them." This was, in fact, the surprising reaction to the crash in crypto and stocks. Institutional investors held on for dear life and bought the dip while retail investors panic sold. According to Bloomberg, hedge funds snapped up individual US stocks at the fastest pace since March during the crash, reversing a months-long selling spree. This was according to data compiled by Goldman Sachs. A separate JP Morgan analysis also showed that institutional investors snapped up $14 billion of shares, as the S&P 500 index dropped by over 3% during the downdraft. Do you think it's all over now, or is there more to come? How do you think the markets and central banks, the Fed especially, will respond to more chaos and recession fears? Please drop your replies, as well as your thoughts on Michael Saylor's interviews, in the comment section below. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.